Now, I want you to take my words literally, hypothetically, figuratively, matterfully, and seriously, sincerely, and happily, godly, because that's what you are. Now, all those words I said, I didn't specifically say them in a certain order for a reason, but if you went back through them and did the math to them, you'd see what I mean. Today we watched Who's the Boss. And why? Because I asked God for a sign. And I said, God, Ginger died yesterday. So I checked my ginger plant that I thought was dying, and I talked to Ginger in a special place. This sounds really, really funny, but when I came back here and I really settled my mind and my heart, and I thought about Ginger, and I just sat here and I petted her in my mind for a few minutes. And the ginger plant that was dry still sprouted. And the two ginger plants that smelled spoiled still had sprouts, and they're growing really well underwater. So I washed them off, and I said, hey, I'm going to take better care of you. I'm just going to keep you good until the soil gets a little warmer soon, because we already have some grown. It's growing really good in the room. So that one will grow really good too when I wash it off, and I know it because it's the letters, and it's the care you take for stuff. So we are a combination of sound, letters, light, and the way we use them. Okay? These words matter. Okay, and I'm not the only person who's ever done this, because we've all done this. And when I go to interpret, when I say stuff like the lower Dantian, and then I go Dan, and then I say Daniel, and I say on the movie, the kid, his name is Dan Petronuso. I wish I knew his name. I can't remember it off the top of my head, but Petriano or something like that. And he plays the kid on Who's the Boss. And he's also the kid on Cujo. He's stuck in the car and Cujo's going crazy. But that Cujo is spelled K-U-J or C-U-J-O, not K-U-J-O. Now, Joe Lupo always walked around saying the beast within, and he's like quiet. He's awesome. He's tough. And he's really fast and really quick. And even though he has a thyroid problem, a hyperthyroidism, which these are all letter combinations, you see, and they matter. Joseph Jeffrey Lupo, J-J-L. And L is 12. J and J is 10, 10, 2. So he's 10, 10, 22. No, 10, 10, 12. Yeah, 10, 10, 12. So he's 32. And that's energy 5. So he's just moving forward, and he's playing whatever character he wants to. And I'm not only saying that because I'm being silly. It's because it's that simple. We're only combinations of letters and numbers that are walking and talking through the things that we eat and things that we watch and the things that we do, that are all explainable by combinations of words and letters and numbers. And when we finally understand what that means, you'll know that you are moving things, are you harnessing things within you, within your body, within your area, within your life. So what you do next time is say, God, or higher being, or if whether or not there's things like whether or not you say the word or believe the words that you are spirit. Okay, there's something inside you. Put it that way. Something inside you. Now, something sounds like something inside you. The word spirit is in there in the letter combination. And when you say something is inside of you, you don't go, something is inside of you. Because we don't talk that strictly and that pompously. And why? Because those are words and letter combinations too. They're all vibrational patterns, and we broke them off so that we could look at them and explain them to ourselves in different bodies of amassed light, of physical nutrients that are either black, white, red, green, everything that's balanced. So if you don't have enough of a certain letter combination or enough of a sound vibration in your life, you get out of balance. So that's why sound therapy helps. That's why food therapy helps. That's why there's vitamins A through Z. That's why there's all this stuff. It's a balanced diet. Now, what I want to suggest is that we take something that's 26 even spaces, like separated into 26 inches, and balance it between the 13th and a half inches. Just make it however long it is. It's got to be balanced between where the 13th. So there's 13 on one side and 13 on the other side. So we have the A through M and the N through Z. And then you spell out words, and you put 26 different things that are equal weight, like 26 quarters perhaps. Hopefully they're all exactly the same amount of weight. So then you put words like balance. Then you put things like balanced with it. To spell it right, you have to make sure you spell them right, or they won't work, because a balanced diet wouldn't be balanced. The word diet should be, and the word balance should be. But if you use the right amount, of, it's not just going to be weight. See, at this point, this is where it gets into, oh, that's not right. I'm like, but if you hear what I'm saying and you see the words, how they, and they go into sound patterns, and different languages have said different things. Like over here, we say that's how we get things done. And then you would go, dinner tonight is when we're going to eat, or supper is like the later part of the day. It's upper in the day. Breakfast is whenever you break your fast, not in the morning. Most people do that in the morning because they're breaking their fast off of force as plus, like food. They're breaking they're breaking their pause from food. That's all it means. It doesn't mean that you're doing anything like it's a combination of letters that is through the foods we eat first and foremost, when things are the most like, when they're natural. If you combine them with things, those chemicals that you put into them also distort them some. I mean, and it's not just the letters and the words. It's what we've done with the things that are made out of them, and what we've called things as the product or the end result of what we've done with the things that we've made out of other things. And it's also the materials, if they were living or not, if they were a life substance, okay? Now, that's in this planet, okay? And now I'm not going to get off to too much weird stuff and go off of that, because you aren't just this material. It's just as if you were sleeping for one night's sleep in a human body, and then you wake up and it seems like 8 hours. That's just, they say 8 hours of sleep. That's that time thing. You don't have to sleep 8 hours. Some people only sleep 3, and it's usually 3 or 5. You can get an hour or 2. You say an hour or 2, and then you say good 3 or 4 hours of sleep. Those are doorway numbers. 5 hours, yeah, that's good. 6 hours, that's a powerful human number. 7 hours of sleep, that's a divine number. That's why people say that sometimes. And 8 is just a good round number, isn't it? 9 hours, 10 hours, now you're getting over there, man. Any number after that in the human idea, that's like, you don't need to sleep that much unless you're, getting old, or you're overworked, or something, But just think of what I'm saying. It's a combination of rest upon your body based on the balance of your diet, based upon the balance of the way that you use the world and its living substances. The things that you notice as living, the most that they are living, even the things that are dead now were once living. Even the things that are in the dirt are made up of decayed people and of decayed everything and of the waste products, okay? So when the waste goes out looked at as horrible, like I can't believe they did that to it. Why would they just leave this garbage everywhere? Because someone's got to pick it up. Well, someone? Who's that someone? When they say someone, it's the sum of one. God itself is in all of us. So when one person does it, that's someone. That's the sum of one. When a whole bunch of people do something, when someone should do this, and a whole bunch of people do it, that's more than just someone, but it's someone, isn't it? Yeah. The words are right in front of you, and they always have been. Now, like I said, it's not just the words, it's not just the letters, it's what you do with them, on top of the way you appeal, because that can draw people in. If you look totally intimidating, no one's going to come to you. So that's why I say some people, when you do that kind of stuff to yourself, you look intimidating to others. You want to look as blending in, but there's no blending in. That's the issue, is that like you want people to notice you if you've got a message, because it's important for them. This is a thing of letters. Why do you think there's Mars and Martians? And we have Satan and Saturn. There's different things about how I said my dad has Ed, which is work, and then war with a D at the end. And he's got an R, then a D. My name is D-A-N, which is just opposite way around, but D, and then A, which is the first letter of the alphabet, and an N, which is the second half of the alphabet, but the fourth of the 10 through 20 part of the alphabet. And then we stop at 2, 6, because that 2 is when we all divide into 2, and 6 is the human world. And that's why we live in a world that's finally at a 26-letter alphabet. And maybe people say, not all dialects use 26 letters. I'm like, but that's why English, which is Angelish, which is boom, is 26. Because the great one, that is nothing. So both those numbers don't seem to seriously exist, because if you think about it, if 0 came from nothing, what? And if 1 came from nothing, well, there's just no 1 then. But then you get into 2, and then you get into 3, and once you say 3, you're like, I give up, because the shape sort of makes sense. Because by the time you're starting about 3, you forgot about 1 and 0. That 1 never came from 0, and 0 never came from 1. So letters and numbers are just a concept. There is no separation between you and me besides what we do with our physical mass. and what we influence the physical world around us to do with theirs. Now, animals, we got to sort of leave them alone and just protect ourselves in our own ways. Don't go hunting them, killing them off. Let them live naturally. Don't breed them to slaughter them for others, because that's also misusing Mother Earth. That Mother Earth is the constant nurturing nature of all of soil, all of wind, and all of the 5 elements. Why are they 5 elements? There's so many more than 5. Yeah, but we say 5 because it's an E. And it's energy representing to the right, which is how we write on a graph. Maybe not all dialects, but English, the angel language. And I'm not just saying that, I'm saying it's because what it means in every language when you go to interpret it, in every language, that's what it means. Or people be like, well, they're just being conceited trying to say that. No, they're not being conceited. If you translate those words into the letter combinations and the shapes and the vibrational patterns they are, why do you think we go A, B, C, D, E, F, G, breathe, H, I, J, K, L. Okay, H, I, J, K, that's sort of a little pause there. Because then you go L, M, N, O, P, like 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Those are all sort of in the loop there. So listen to the song. And then we have, I'm not going to finish the alphabet song, but then we go into stuff like there's reasons why we stop at and make commas and pauses at those things, because they mean the same thing. Like A, B, C, D, E, F, G, comma, same thing. H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, and Z. So they're all just one thing, but we separated them so we could announce something differently than numbers. Okay? So then, we also have the music scale. Why do we talk about the cycle of 7s? Because we have 7 notes, but it starts with C, the concept. Okay? And then you go up and around to A. And then you move into the other letters that are combinations of those letters that are 7 through, okay, so you go C, D, E, F, G. That's 5. And then you have A, B. That's 7. That's a cycle of 7 that goes from C around to G. So you go from C to G, and then it goes to A in sound. Before you come into visible light, that's the sound pattern. So sound is a cycle of 7, but it starts at C. Starts at that kind of concept. The way I've been telling you with these 3-letter words that are used for the whole alphabet, this is how we started in a place of non-physical body. Not all of our physical bodies. Our physical bodies are doing their own things now. Okay, yes, I agree. So we're all doing our individual things in our bodies. But guess what? We started before the body. We started in a place of sound. And we started with a place of light that started combining in a swirly whirlwind of what we now as physical beings see weather patterns, and we see that kind of stuff because other people are out of control of their mind, which is one thing, which is just a 3 facing down, an I, a 14, and a 4. Do you see this? You have to see it. It's a 3 and a 1, which is 4. It's a 1 and a 4, which is 14. And then it's a D, which is a 4. It's balance. Mind. If you can balance your mind the right way and see what it means, it's all a combination of how you love and how you care. Do you care for yourself? How do you care for yourself? You do things that other people tell you to do to care for yourself, or you do things to yourself that feel good knowing that you didn't harm anything else, and knowing that nobody else harmed anything else, and knowing that it was pure, and knowing that it was clean, and knowing that it was with the most well-intention. You grew it. You're going to grow more. You love them. They're part of you. Your plants, your vegetables, you love them. They're part of you. You didn't toxify them. You didn't kill the bugs around them. You shared. You made extra so the bugs could have some. You made extra for the animals to have some. Why? Because they're combinations of letters living out of spirit too. We're all in one spirit. There's not more than one spirit. That's the astral world. We have an astral world. When you have dreams, you're in that then. You're in the light world. You're in the psychic world. You're in the because you can be in the psychic world while you're awake, but it's because you're sort of in half sleep, half physical land. And sometimes you lose them, and usually that's when you're sitting still. And if you keep moving, you got to learn how to make sure you stay still. You stay around people that keep you still when your mind goes off and your body's in one spot and your head goes somewhere else. You know that can happen by what you put in your body. It can separate you for a short period of time. That's why psychedelics are getting such a big kick right now, and that's a pattern of letters too. And if you did the math, it's going to have Dan in there and it's going to have God in there. Psychedelics, and it doesn't matter. Like, people aren't going to, if they will look into it, because P is 16, which is also 7, G, back to G. So 3 is C. That's why we have 3. And then we go C, D, E, F. And then F is 4 letters away from C in the musical notes, but it's only 3 away in the alphabet. because you only go C and then you go D, E, F, G. But in the musical notes, you go C, hit it, D, hit it, E, hit it, F. So there's notes there. But you're also only counting after you've hit the note, I guess. When we're talking about letters, you're talking about the letter from where the letter's at, not from where the note starts or ends. So the vibrational pattern matters. What clings to light and patterns? Well, heat and color. Like the word red and heat are a mathematical equation that just isn't as simple as 1, 2, 3 and ABC. It's different than that. It's a pattern spinning in vibration. And I can show it to you. And I can't explain it to you over a recording. And I couldn't even really explain it to you with just standing in front of you with every single word. But most of the time, I can. With almost every word. Even Jesus and Krishna and all that kind of stuff. Because I was there when it started. And so were you. And I'm not saying that anybody, not one thing existing right now, not even a blade of grass, wasn't existing before we got physical. Physical. And why does it say that? And why is the mother... Okay, who's the boss? I got to say something real quick about it again. Tony Danza. D-A-N and then Z to A instead of A to Z. Okay? And he was sort of a boxer kind of guy and, you know, blah, 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 that kind of stuff. It was cool. And he was like, hey, yo. And he was working for her with his daughter whose name on the show was Samantha. With Sam and Tha. T-H-A. So, like, all, like, productive things. Sam, I am... You know, think Sam I am. And then An, as in female nature, without the N on top of itself, just spread everywhere. And then T-H-A, the main version of the word T-H-E, the, okay? Samantha, also another shape of God, okay? And then go into Judith, light. And this show came out when I was, during my time period, when I was a little child, when I was either 4 or 5, 3, 4, 5. That's when it came out, in that doorway of time, okay? Doorway of time. That's another 20... 1, 3 facing down, 3 facing right. But at the same time, it's 29, or T is 20, I is 9, M is 13, and E is 5, which is also E is 3 spun around. But it's the 5th letter. And it's like, this is how we go around in patterns, because it's this cycle of almost like a cyclops or a cyclone, right? Why are those things circular? Because they sound like each other, and they're patterns of letters. And we started before we were bodies. We were sound. And before we were sound, we were light. But before we were light, we didn't have anything to reflect ourselves, so we didn't see ourselves when we were just light. So we didn't see ourselves until we became physical. Now we're looking back at ourselves at the same time. All the time. And you'll wake up at the end of this life, and it'll seem so bad until you die. And then you're like, oh my God, that's where I was. Ha! Wow! Sweet! It's just like day to day. Like, why is a day called a day, and I am named Dan, and God is God, and there's a gonad, and it's because you advertise, vertise, okay, add. So these things there are because we're light, and it's us trying to explain it to ourselves. And when I wake up from this body and die, or when I wake up from this body and go back to the nature that we are, then it'll even be better. Because I stay right here all the time. Even when I'm angry, it's still here. Because when I'm angry and it's here, if I had a moment come on where I know death is coming, because I know you can worry yourself to death. I almost did it this morning from asking God to give me a sign, because boom, God was like, you want a sign? Here, I'll show you. And it was like, go do some breathing exercises a little bit and calm yourself down. Right now, I'm going to give you like a heart rush and a head rush and make you sweat and whatever with just you and your brother here and make you feel all stressed out. So instead, I just found little topics to talk about. And then I realized as I was talking about everything that Mona was mana, and Judith light is like Jesus but J-U, and it within an H within the shape of an H, okay? And if you did the math with the numbers and the letters all together, you'd see it's all balanced. So you have to have a balanced diet of sound. So why do you think people that don't have a balanced diet or that use their words very well do stuff like listen to vibrational patterns, and all of a sudden those vibrational patterns have helped those people because they needed megahertz, MHZ, and they're usually like, and depending on how it sounded to their vibrational being, it vibrates them into the good patterns of thinking right. And then once they think right, they start healing. And once they concentrate on specifically healing, they really start healing. And once you learn how to feel good without doing anything wrong to anybody else and not doing anything wrong to yourself, you heal. So I recommend you smile a lot. Love your body. And look around. Study the words. Don't look too deeply into the words themselves, but the patterns of them and what we said to ourselves underneath it all. It's that God loves you. Seriously. And maybe not just God, because different languages say it different way, but in their language with a different interpretation of the same thing I'm saying, but in their own way, it's the answers are right in front of us. They've always been right in front of us. Look out into the world and see that the world and the word and the trees and the does and all that stuff are just a swirled up jumbo combination of vibrational patterns. And we've said them out loud. And we say, war must go on. The war must go. We must honor the fallen. No, I love people. Honor spirit. All spirit. Not one nation, not one country, not one person, not one friend, not one enemy. They're all one thing. They're all living energy through this big one body of massive, lovely earth. And when you die from here, you can go to another place and you'll see that on that place, they don't call Neptune Neptune. They talk totally differently. You'll fall asleep and you'll wake up and you won't even be in a universe anymore. You'll think, what the hell is a universe? No, you'll never think of the term universe again. Ever. Ever. You're in a human body. It's the only reason you even say the term universe. It's the only reason you use letters. It's the only reason you do any of this. Because you're in a physical body. Without a physical body, you don't say words like this. Why would you? If you were the wind, would you worry about saying, hey guys, hey? You're a combination of it. And what you get to do with it is from your performance and from your shine. Not your bling, not your showing off and getting money. There's a difference between people noticing you and you really being loved. Now you can be noticed and have shine, but there's something that you're not answering to yourself, and that's who you are. It's who are you really? God. And once you see that, the shine should be everybody's, not just yours. And that's where the fault comes in, because they all do deserve it. And when you say, no, they don't, I deserve it because I work my ass off, you don't think anybody else has? Not as hard as you. Oh, Dan thought that. And I believe that now because God showed him. But now back as a human being, Dan doesn't think that way either. I know that sounds funny to say, but I'm having to use a physical body to speak through as a combination of light and sound, just like you. That's why Kathy is karate. That's why Karate Kid and Daniel's son, and I'm Kathy's son. And then Catherine is Mona's name. Mona, Mana, the mushroom, Mana, Soma, okay? And she's Judith Light's mom. And Judith Light plays Angela Bauer, like the bow, the one over above. The bow breaks, the cradle will rock, down will come baby, cradle and all, B-A-B. Like, this is cool. Like, take an A and flip it upside down, and take a Y and put the stick between it, and put the A take the stick out between the A, flip it upside down like a V, and put the stick on the bottom of it. That's a Y. Now take a Y and flip it upside down, take the stick off of it, and put it between it like an A and a Y, and they both make A, and you say yay, and at the end of the D-A-Y, it's day. Why? Because A and Y are the same thing, but they're on opposite sides of the spectrum. And then there's a Z on the other end. So we go like 1 through 10, or 0 through 10, or all through 10. 1 and 0 are the same thing, just like A and 0 are about the same thing, but not really. They're about. A-B-O-U-T. See how there's a weird balance, but not really a balance at all? It just goes back and forth through the letters. And what does about mean? Well, it's sort of like a balance between what it means and what it is. Yeah, about. Yeah, what I'm talking about and what the thing is, or what I'm trying to describe it for. And describe comes in there because definition and Dan are both inside each other, but not in full letter form, but in sound form. Just, definition. There's an E and an F and all that other stuff because of the shape and the form of the letters and what the word means, but Dan is there. Any D blank N combination, the word Dan is in, but A is the prime form of them. Dine is to feed, the identified now expression. Dune is a described under, like a U is now either it's really big or it's just down, like it's the shape of a U. It's like the fifth tense of the vowels that we use, even though we're in a sixth world and a 7 sound and a 7 pattern. So it's like we get into these weird patterns, and they do matter, and you've got to balance them in your body and mind, your heart and your brain and your stomach and all of it, and you and your actions and your thoughts. And it seems hard, but if you don't do it, you're going to struggle. If you do it, you're going to struggle. But guess what? You're a human being. You're managing light, and you're learning to manage, right? So that you can become the man. Whether you're a man or a woman, because a woman is two vital identities ongoing in a woman, so that you can reproduce. In your body, you are able to make two more, or you're able to make more, because your body can actually produce one more. It can produce 8 more. You can have octuplets, and that does matter to fertilization, and that's got the combinations of letters and number patterns. And you'll see what I mean someday. Someday everybody will take this seriously and actually learn so much more than they ever thought. Now, what I meant about that thing with the weird 13 on each side, you would balance them out. You'd find 26 different things that are all equally in weight. And then you'd take certain words that mean balance, and you'd take certain words that mean that, and you'd put them on there weight-wise and see how it would shape. But it would have to be like a circumference. There'd have to be a pattern to it. It wouldn't just be a straight line, because life isn't a straight line. So that's where it gets difficult, because it's not just the letters, like I said. So it wouldn't just be the letters and weight, because the letters break in the numbers. But then you'd have to do the math, and you have to balance out the math. And how would we have people that wanted to take the time to really think about all that? We don't. That's the issue. People don't want to think. They want to put it in a computer. And I would not put that in the hands of a computer, because a computer has still been made by a person. And that person made it off of a pattern of patterns, and off of a pattern of patterns, and off of a pattern of patterns. And I've done that, believe me. Believe me. If you really heard me talking, you'd understand. But it's just hard. It's hard to comprehend. And it's just hard, because you're going to go back to, I got to go to work. And no, you don't. And that guy doesn't own you, and you've never needed money. Money is just another form of mana, and mama, and soma, and samana, and samadhi, and all that stuff. You see this? And samadhi has Dan in it, just backwards, because it was over on different parts of the world. And it's, you see, I don't want to break it down, because people think I'm making that up, but I'm not. I made up sound and light before any people made products. So now products seem cooler than God, and it's not. God is in all of them, and God lets it all be possible, or the creator, or the universe, or whatever you want to call it. Joe Namath. He's God too. Think of his name. Joe Namath. So he can do whatever he wants. Nature as manifest expression plus here. He wanted to be a football player. He is. He wanted to make some money. He's on Colonial Penn. And why is it Colonial Penn? Penn, Pennsylvania. I live here. Yeah. Just like I said, it's all just patterns of letters and vibration, and how much you really love. And when I say God really loves you, I know, because I, as you, are him. And I love you. Peace. Just had to unlock my phone, or Dan's phone, so that I could do this right here and get back to my thingamajiggy. And I just noticed a comment that somebody left on a thing when someone was talking to Sad Guru, who's also my name, just flipped upside down. He's got the U-R-U on the other side and G between it, and then Sad, there's the D and the A. It just means he's a sitting guru, and at the same time, he doesn't consider himself a guru, because that's not all he is. Of course, he's awesome, but he's just little misled from what he thinks and from what he's learned, and he'll say he didn't learn anything, but of course he reads. He's not stupid. He's awesome, and he plays Frisbee, and he's allowed to. And he doesn't harm anything. He doesn't kill things. He's cool. That's what you do. So he can do whatever he wants. He can ride his motorcycle. He doesn't harm, and he does try to do his best to not do anything bad to the environment. That's great. I know. I've been him. And he's a cool dude. He's awesome. And as Dan, I'll still say things at times that vibrationally sound like I'm putting him down, but it's only because the ideas and stuff he's representing are just myth, or they're not fully backed up with what I can show you. And not because I'm against him, because I want to help him. Help him, and you, and me, and everybody. And all of it, the grass, the soil, the plants, the trees, the birds, the apples, everything. We're here to help life be beautiful. When you find a problem, you fix it. You don't kill something. You find a way to provide for that thing as well. And you try not to encourage too much reproduction, even of your own kind, until your own kind gets under control. And that's an issue. Like, certain animals didn't get under control. They kill off their own kind sometimes. Not as many as us, but some other tribes and other things do eat themselves, or do eat each other, and do whatever. And it's not wrong of them to do that. It's just nature. That's true nature. Now we've become more civilized. See these words playing around? Are civilized, concept, identified, before, vital, during, to, and then IL. Okay? C-I, or C9, could be 12, and then you'd break that down into 3. Then you'd have 2, which is V. Then you have I, which is 9, or the I, or is 1. And then L, which is 1, 2. So it's hard to show you what I mean by that, but it's even. It's an even balanced word. Civil, if you are really being civil. But if you're not, it doesn't look balanced. It doesn't look like 3, 1, 21, 22, 3. Or it goes 3, C, 1, 22, 1, and then 1 plus 2, which is 3. So civil is a balanced word when you understand it. Like I just explained it to you. It's 3, 1, 22, 3, 1, 2, 2, 1, 2, or 1, 3. 3, 1, 2, 2, 1, 3. 3, 1, 2, 2, 1, 3. Now just think of what that means. From before, as 1, separate on top itself. Yeah. All still 1. And then 3. And energy will go on. And I didn't say it like that on purpose. I just broke it down so I could see what it meant to myself. 3, 1, 2, 2, 1, 3. When you learn how to be civil, that's when things will be that way. And that's what the word civil means. It's pattern. Shapes. It's freaking cool. So not one thing really means that much, but you can explain it to people by doing things like that. And what does it matter? Do you love them? That's why it matters. Because all the things they're worried about that are killing each other and trying to market each other and trying to buy things from each other and get money never mattered at all. The only thing that mattered is matter. And people have never been people. That's a combination of words to explain ourselves to ourselves. So we get it. So English should be the universal language, not because it's better than other ones, because it's the best pattern of language to understand it. It's more of a balanced language. It's a symmetrical language. The word sin isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's just explaining a bad theory. That's why a senator is like a sin adder, because he's telling you what you're not allowed to do. And no one can tell you what you're not allowed to do. You, from your inside heart towards others, should be able to tell yourself what to do. And that should be a good thing. And if it's not, then you got to look into yourself and find out why it's not a good thing. No matter what happened to you before. Can you fix that bad thing is bad or was bad? But can you fix what you're doing right now at this moment? Are you sick a little bit? Can you start thinking of healthy thoughts first? Then can you start moving around a little bit and loosening up and warming your body if you're cold and cooling your body if you're too hot? Then think good thoughts. Listen to soft music. Listen to something that doesn't get you too amped up or having your heart pump too fast. And guess what will happen? You'll relax. You'll get into a state of healing. You will, no matter what. And if you say, I can't do that, I can't do that, I can't do that, that's because you're saying to yourself you can't do it. You don't believe. That believing stuff matters. That means everything. When you say believing doesn't mean anything. That's just because the word is just a word. Believing means, if I didn't think I could do it, I didn't believe I could have. I didn't think I could walk. No, you believed yourself into it. You just did it. You did it. You lived it. Identified and expressed it vitally. Expressing it. You belived it. The word lie is in the middle of V because it lies in the center of you being and being a vital expression. You be, then you lie, and then you vitally express. First you pop out, then you lie around, then you vitally express, then you go to sleep. Then you pop up, then you go out and you vitally express, then you go to sleep. The cycle of 3. And that cycle of 3 goes around and around and around throughout time. 3 and 8. See? See what I mean? This is weird stuff, but it's true. And I can't stop doing it because it's too true. And there's a reason behind it, because I can heal the world if they open up their hearts and actually care. That's it. So if people don't care, they can kill Dan, but that doesn't help them. That actually harms them. Not because Dan wants any hailstorm, because he's here to save them, and he can, without them ever harming each other again. And that's a great thing. And if you don't think that's a great thing, that we could live in a world of peace between all things, animals, humans, one day we can learn how to fly without toxifying the world. Why don't you think we could do that? We've learned how to fly by toxifying the world, but we can learn how to fly without toxifying the world by using different forms of electric, different forms of heat that don't harm the hemisphere, the atmosphere, the weather scope that we've been harming, the weathers or the heat that we've been cranking up way too hot in places that weren't supposed to be it, because nature said no. Nature said, this is the way this place is, and if you're going to fight with it, you're going to get storms, because you're going to melt it, and it's going to try to freeze up again. And when it rises, it causes up pressure, and when it melts and gets heavier, it causes down pressure, and in between, it blows around from all the movement and the wind and everything moving. The trees move, the leaves move, the people talk, people go, butterflies flap their wings. Everything blows wind, because sometimes you can't say a butterfly's wings doesn't do anything in the wind. Yes, it does. If you didn't see it flapping, sometimes you wouldn't see it. So yes, it's a combination of all those things. Is it not? No, it isn't. I'm sorry, my friend, but it is. I'm only saying it to you because I love you, and I want you to really get it through your thick skull that you're God. Not me, but God's here. Very fully. But so is Dan. Dan's not gone, But Dan isn't what people thought he was. That's why he always says, I'm not Dan Alexander. Those are just letters and numbers. They're a combination of things. Once you understand what it is, I can show you what my name actually means. But then I'll tell you that my name doesn't mean anything to who I am. But to Dan it does, because Dan doesn't want you to kill him. And Dan doesn't want to die. He wants his family to know how much they truly, truly matter to him and how much he weeps as a human being over them, but loves them whether they ever see him or not. And even his friends and everybody. He'll never have sex. He'll never do any of that stuff. If it isn't something that wasn't just spiritually provoked, that'll be a moment I know when it's there. But at that right now, I can't say it would, because I do see myself as everything, and everyone is part of me. But it doesn't mean I want to throw myself at each individual. It just means that those individuals are just respected. That's it. No matter what they look like or act like. I don't want them to harm me or others, and I would like them to stop harming the planet that we come from on this physical matter. But that's all. Peace.